and that is why this video is being made. There's not going to be very many pictures in this video. It is not intended to be entertainment, much more as to education of a plan. A plan this complex is going to require a very in-depth explanation of its many parts. First, let us bring to the table what we know. The chief export of the central manufacturers is an extract. The extract varies in purity. The variance is due to many reasons. And when we talk about variances and impurities, we'll also talk about difference in prices based off of different manufacturing methods and chemicals involved, which have different pricings as well. The manufacturers have run afoul of many of the world's governing bodies because of the secondary nature of the extract: physical addiction, psychological addiction, long-term health issues. The manufacturers are engaged in corporate wars with each other, wars stemming from boardrooms to battlefields. This is due to delivery routes, supply routes, manufacturing facilities, and farmland. I would say farmland, all these things are in scarce demand and or contested. The host nation is at war with the manufacturers because the manufacturers have targeted government officials whom they think were working for other corporations. The local population, the populations, since this involves more than just one host country, are caught up in this mix from all sides and seek relief. Neighboring countries are fighting the corporations via proxy with the host nation by supplying the host nation with arms and technical assistance. The host nation is losing vital national defense capabilities and is at risk of becoming more vulnerable to communist guerrillas every year as the wars wage on. Summation of key points. Everyone involved is at fault. You cannot get rid of the corporations. For each one you eliminate, two will replace it. You cannot get rid of the host nation government. You cannot get rid of it in any form, for if you do, one will replace it. The nation fighting the proxy war will be seen at fault by the global markets and its fellow countries, and they will have the ownership of a problem that they in part caused. And keep in mind, this will be total ownership. And in whole, they will have to pay the full bill to repair and restore the old government to power, lest they wind up with a communist or tyrannical neighbor. The war between the host nation and the corporations gives the communist guerrillas legitimacy, a function, and access to better weapons and money by fighting whoever and forever, and whichever side pays the best on a given day or given operation. To the corporations, fix the purity issues. Add a binding agent or a reducing agent or a sickening agent or limiting agent. Add another chemical to reduce the amount of times that a prospective client can use the product, whether it be daily or weekly, sort of like antabuse and alcohol. To the host nation, give each corporation its own state to operate in, and either subsidize the profits, so each corporation makes the same, or subsidize the fiber that the extract is drawn from, in which case each corporation gets the same amount in metric tons each month or year, depending upon output and global demand. To the proxy nations, allow corporations who already distribute taxable items the ability to market and collect taxes on the extracts. To local and regional authorities, treat the use and abuse of the extracts the same as you do alcohol, such as using no extracts and operating vehicles, or operating any form of public transportation, no public use of the extracts, and no use of the extracts by minors, and no selling of extracts to minors, and no public advertising of the extracts either. All agents who have a hand in the production, distribution, shipping, whether it be intrastate, interstate, or international, are hereby bound to honor the treaties set forth by the corporation and all world governing bodies. Failure to adhere to or willfully violating such treaties will place such agents on Interpol's list of customs and taxation violators and violators of international treaties, and will face punishment resulting in their removal of their rights to be an agent dealing with the regulated extracts. It will be a lifetime punishment. Jail time will be a mandated item, and enforceable in local, regional, national, and international courts of law. To receiving nations, you are responsible for the security of the products shipped to you. You will track and maintain security on each container and make audits on quantity and quality on a regular basis as deemed by your legislative or executive branch of government. Your means of taxation will be fair and equal and will not favor one manufacturer over another. Host nations and corporations have the responsibility to ensure that the fiber is of sufficient quality and free from any pesticides or herbicides that might pose a threat to human life. To the corporations, each corporation will be responsible for accurate weights and measures and will seal each package with tamper-evident technology. No packages will be sold to the general public unless through a government clearinghouse, which will collect taxes and levy tariffs. Each end package distributed by the retailer's packaging firms will be sold for personal use only and in weights and measures deemed prudent for personal use, and no resale of packages will be allowed unless the proper pro-rated tax is collected. Any attempt by any individual to reverse engineer the final product to either enhance its effectiveness or remove the binding and regulating agents will be chargeable to the extent of international law. The same laws that apply to the manufacturing of biological weapons. This will be done as a detriment to prevent person or persons from using it as a weapon of malice or willful intent to harm the public good. Example, 1 kilogram of 99.99% pure extract placed into central air vents of a high-rise building. Such actions, punishment, will be life in prison. All parties have a responsibility to educate the public on the products manufactured under the Magnuson-Moss Act. It is a person's own choice to use or not to use the products, and in doing so, they choose to accept any hereto undiscovered side effects. To the Surgeon Generals or health ministers in the countries accepting into the treaties and corporate partnerships, it is your responsibility to ensure that the products are labeled with the appropriate warnings and in a language that can be easily understood. International price regulation will be derived and controlled by what the sum of the corporations can produce on a growing season basis. They cannot control the weather, so it would be unfair for them to accept a price loss due to drought or pestilence. They must be allowed a fluctuation in their prices in order to ensure long-term delivery and consistent product research and development.